Good morning. Hi everyone. Hopefully you can hear me because I have not got my headphones. And there's oh my gosh, look at my paperwork. You're not supposed to be able to see this. I've got builders next door, so hopefully, it seems like they're on a break now. So hopefully they will be quiet. We've got the amazing Jillian that's coming on today, and we've been trying to get a time together and it just keeps not working out with the two of us. But the reason I've got so much paperwork here is because I've got my notes. I made some notes to ask her questions because she's got so many fun, amazing things to talk about. And I want to make sure that I'm prepared. So, hi everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Where is it? Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to dump all of this. And then Jillian, when you come on, is this you? Are you able to request? And then I can add you and then we can have our chat. I'm really sorry that I'm disorganised. I was organised this morning and then I started doing something, you know what it's like. But I hope you're all okay. Here are my notes. I've found them. Yay. Okay, brilliant. Just in time. Right. I know what I'll do. I'll do the everyone thing so that everyone knows that we're going live because I forgot to do that. See if that works. And I can't see anyone's messages if anybody's talking. Let me just do the swizzy round camera thing as well. So you can see my messy room. And I'll also go on my computer. Is anybody there? I can see there's people there, but I can't read my ears. I can't see any messages and I can't see any requests of anyone. I can't even see who's here, which is weird. I'm just going to go and look at myself on the screen, on another screen. Lol. Right, let's tag Jillian. Let's tag everyone. Oh, you're there. You can't see. Oh, babe, you can't do it on your laptop. Sorry, I should have told you that. You can only do it on your phone. I don't know why. I heard a rumour that Facebook was going to change this rule, but obviously it hasn't. So you have to be on your phone. It won't let you do it on your laptop. No idea why. At least I can see that. I can see it now. How is everyone? Anyone that's it's really weird seeing myself on two things. Yay! Okay, cool. I can see you. Approve. Send an invitation. She is coming. Hello.
Finally.
How are you?
Oh, do you know what? Everything conspires against me. I really need to do some work because nothing works.
What technology?
Just sold a laptop. No, well, just sold an iPad to somebody that was my daughter's when she was at high school, and he just messaged to say it's remotely controlled by the school, and it's half term, and no one's answering the phone, so it's like.
Oh my gosh, that's so annoying. Do they think you've stolen the laptop from the school?
Well, she didn't even stay because she's home educated, which is part of my story. So it's like I'd have to contact them, and it's like so many years ago now. But anyway, wow. I'm here.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So you do home education. That is so interesting.
Yes, well, yeah. Let's not get into it right away because it's a long
whole different
I'm just going to try and do this. Try and put this in a... Right, there we go. Right. Cool. Right,
I can't see any comments. I'm like... So how are you?
I'm, yes, I'm good, thank you. Yeah. I have ups and downs, doubting and all things like that, but I'm feeling really motivated at the moment. Things are changing and going, well. I
That's
think, yeah.
good. So what's changing?
Well, so since I became accredited in all of these things, I've had to kind of work from home, and so everything's online. And I found, and I don't know if other people who have come to kind of these healing modalities from not a therapy background or anything like that,
Yeah.
that the general public don't really understand that you can do a lot of this online. They
Right.
kind of think go to a therapy room or a space or whatever. And I think that's been a difficult message to get across, probably because I'm not a business person at all. My background wasn't that.
Yeah.
But now I've very happy that Vicky Thompson, the lovely Vicky Thompson, has let me join her team at her new healing space.
Amazing.
So I've got a day a week where I can see people in person.
That's amazing. It looks so cool. I've seen pictures of it. It looks great. So then
It's
people
got a really
can see
nice
you.
feeling and vibe to it as well. It's and this is just the start. I mean, she's only just been in a few months, but it will obviously grow and develop and get its own aura and everything. But it's really a lovely, calm space, and yeah, it's really nice.
And are there other therapists in the building as well? Is it like a building for therapists, or is it just like random?
No, although that's what one of our mutual friends wants it to become. She wants it to become like this place where everybody, has got a room and space. But no, I think there's different people. I think at least one of them's a counsellor.
Okay.
But it's office space, so there are lots of different possibilities that are going to be there.
That's really
But the whole
cool
building is
because you
good.
can build a community, can't you? And like refer each other to different, like a
Yeah,
counsellor. You can help them.
yeah.
That's amazing.
And
What's these? Oh,
hopefully we can, like, because obviously I'm having a day, but then maybe in the future a few other people, if we had a different room as well, we could have different people using it on different days and things. So yeah, lots of plans, but
that's so
Swiss.
exciting. I love that. And so when you're using the room, what are you using it for? What
So
modalities are you doing?
so the in-person bit that's really important is the fact that I've trained in Vicky's modality Boost Me, which
Yeah.
is a hands-on modality. So I did my case studies there, but I've also just sounds like Vicky is my like guru. Vicky as well as
She's
also
everyone's
just
guru, really. She's mine
yeah,
too.
she just trained in angelic Reiki 1 and 2 there, and so I've got that now. I've got belief coding, quantum flame, quantum energy. Hopefully soon doing Indian head massage training and
Oh, yes,
Japanese
please.
facial
Oh,
like pressure point. So yeah, quite a few
I need
different
to come up
things.
north.
And
You could get a
I
whole
think some
reading
of
up
it
there.
we do need some of it. We do need. I think people do need a lot of these things. They just don't realize it yet.
Yeah. And also they can go hand in hand, can't they? Because you can kind of, with the head massage or the acupressure on the face, you can kind of get somebody into that relaxed state so that they trust you and so that they're more going to open up to you, and then you can find out
Mm.
what needs healing and how to help them.
And I think that also is one of the brilliant things about all the different from being inside this community and then learning about all these other modalities and approaches and everything that kind of link. They do blend very well together. I mean, I'm always whipping out the quantum flame during things
Yeah.
anyway, and I know that Vicky is very into kind of mixing in bits and pieces. And I think when you do this sort of work, you do tend to just kind of pull in things all the time for different people, don't you? Depending on what's happening with them and what they are open to and what you feel at that time, that intuitive thing.
Yeah, and even like what I'm doing now, I'm doing a psychic mediumship course, and even with that, we're doing DNA activations, and the quantum's there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like steps ahead of the other people because I've already done that with the quantum flame healing. So there's different thing, and it just goes into everywhere because it's
Mm.
everything, everywhere. everywhere all the time, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think, and because well, I'm myself, I'm talking from my personal point of view, becoming more enlightened about all of these different methods, you do then just, you expand, don't you, to see how you can use things differently, or you want another aspect to add on to it. I mean, in the Boost Me, which is a mixture of 9 different things, and one of them is acupressure. It's almost reflexology, but it's not as complicated as that. But I've really found that that's the bit I really love, the acupressure and the work on the feet. And it's almost making me want to kind of follow like a reflexology kind of thing. But I'm also very much chasing that shiny object,
Yeah,
and I need to stop that.
shiny object syndrome.
Yeah,
I've got that.
yeah,
But that's like, that might be your life path, to just
yeah,
keep learning all the
yeah.
time. And there's nothing wrong with
No,
keeping learning.
no.
It's just like, you've just got to find a balance, haven't you, of actually doing the thing
Yes,
and learning about
yes.
it.
Yeah, I think, and it's been so long since I've been a student of anything that you do get kind of a little bit of like addicted to that new knowledge, and then I want to learn some more, and then you've actually got to step into the real world and apply it
Yeah,
and
and make
develop and
some
see.
money.
Yes, yes,
We all need to make some money.
yeah, yeah,
So when we were talking about you coming on and like what you wanted to talk about, you said that you wanted to talk about quantum flame healing, reawakening the world,
yes.
and there's different spiritual practices. So
Yes. So
start talking about that
So
a bit.
I won't. I'm just getting my broom. I won't go
I thought
into my whole long
you said I'm
story.
getting my broom. Just getting my broom.
Um. So I'll try and make a very long story shorter. So I was a teacher for a week short of 30 years,
Wow.
and had a lot of things happen at the same time that just kind of hit a lot, and a lot of things happened around my family and everything, and I couldn't continue with that, and I probably hadn't been happy for a long time, but just because of the nature of teaching, it's such a stressful job, and there's so much in it now that isn't child focused, even though it, they claim it is.
Right.
But I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole different discussion.
Yeah.
But I couldn't carry on doing that. And
Was it more results focused?
it's just, yes, and there's no money. Children are coming in. I worked in an area of social deprivation and high well, it was 99% EAL children, and it was difficult because a lot of the children were coming in and they haven't had the same kind of foundations as other children,
Yeah.
and for lots of reasons, and we were like fighting an uphill battle all the time, and you're still expected to get those children to where leafy village school children who've had a lot of input from parents and everything. So
it's like they don't have breakfast before they come to school, and then they're expected to sit down and concentrate.
Yeah,
It's like, it's just so hard.
yeah, and a lot of our children were coming from families where English was the second language, and the children with the translators, in discussions. Very often they've got to go to mosque after school to do another 2 hours of learning. And so it's all it's not your average kind of, and I'm sure there's lots of different children coming from different situations that are similarly not getting what they need as children, regardless of religion or culture or anything, but you're still expected to kind of produce this child at the end of it, and there's not enough money for the support that these children need, and it was just very stressful. And I think the things that personally, I think that COVID kind of lit a little thing in me where I thought, there's more to this. There's more to life than feeling this stressed. And then all these things happened, And I thought at the time I turned to healing because all these things happened. But I've since kind of had to think that I was pushed towards the healing. Like, so these things happened because my guide was saying, right, you need to change everything. So here's a big old, you know, crap storm to come, and then you'll move in a different direction. So yeah, so that's what I did. I used healing. It's the story that everybody probably has. I used healing to help myself, and then thought, oh, this is amazing, and I could do this for other people, and I need to do something different, so I'm going to do this. So yeah, I've always been a bit intuitive, and you know, dabbled in tarot when I was younger, and been to psychics, and always had that kind of mysticism around me, but not to this extent.
Yeah.
So this is like full immersion, and change of direction, and it's been amazing. And like I said, so I'm learning things now, and I'm learning because I'm choosing to learn them. Whereas when I was a teacher, you had to learn new ways and courses, and because that's what was expected of you. So now it's like my choice.
Yeah.
So it's almost like being an adult again. Because I never thought I grew up. I always remained in school. I stayed in school because it was safe. I liked school, stayed in school, became a teacher, still in a school, not growing up. And
wow, that's so interesting, isn't it?
So it's been tough. I'm not saying it's been like all magical, because I'm having to do adult things and make decisions and create my own structure in a day, and I've been crap at that, and then I've been a bit better at that. So yeah, it's been a bit of a journey and a ride, but I mean, here I am.
It's all a learning curve, isn't it? And then also, as you're going through it, there are other hurdles that kind of don't trip you up, but like knock you off a little bit, and you realise that you've still got more work to do.
Yeah.
And it's almost a bit like, well, I don't know if it is for you, but for me, it's a bit like Pandora's box. Like once you've opened it, there's just so much stuff that unravels, and it's
I mean,
takes a while.
my one of the ingredients in that pot of of calamity was my mental health, and I've worked on it so much using these different modalities, and some of it has been incidental. Like through doing belief coding, I've had lots of sessions on me, obviously, to become accredited and unpick things. And by working on other people, obviously you pull on their intentions as well, don't you? And their new beliefs, you kind of absorb them as well. So I've done lots of work, and then found all these new ways, but I still have dips mentally, and it's just kind of going back in and thinking, right, well, you thought you'd solved this bit, but what was the bit around the corner that you couldn't see, that you didn't solve or work on? And I'm just hoping that every time the dip gets a bit not as steep, so it just becomes a bit more level. And because life throws things at you, doesn't it, all the time, so you can't solve everything. But yeah, that's what I found, was that all of these healing modalities and transformational systems, whatever you want to call them, they've done a lot for me mentally, physically, which has kind of pushed me into my area where what I want to do more, because of what it's done for me.
And also it's about when you were talking just then, I was thinking it's also about daily maintenance as well, which is so easy for us to forget, especially because the world that we live in now is just absolutely bonkers crazy. Like it's insane, and it's so hard to carve out that time. And then even when you do, it's so hard to like put it in as a non-negotiable that's part of your routine that happens every day. And then also because of our conditioning that we've had, if we do stuff for ourselves, we feel guilty, we're selfish, we're supposed to put everybody else before ourselves. So it's like a real battle all the time to try and put these things in place, especially when you start doing the healing as well. I feel like lots of stuff becomes unearthed. It's yes, yeah.
And I think you're right there about, especially women are expected. I think partly it's part of our DNA to be that way, but then there's lots of external expectation on us, and people in this community now that are trying to create kind of businesses from it, or maybe even juggle a job and using the healing and doing that equally. We do not put ourselves first, and I'm the first one that has all the intentions. I'm going to do this every morning, I'm going to tap, I'm going to pull a card, I'm going to do this, and then I do it for like 3 or 4 days, and then that's it. But then I also think that's something neurospicy has been unmasked in me since menopause. I think that is
Interesting. That's
and
so
I think there's a lot
interesting.
of women that have masked it, and then the mask gets thrown off when hormones start to kind of do their little game.
Yeah, and they don't like you anymore. They just come to the surface and there's no masking of that.
Absolutely.
And then when we were talking about the being made to feel guilty, not putting yourself first, women being suppressed and all of this kind of stuff, that's another thing that you wanted to talk about as well, reigniting the inner witch.
I mean,
or the witch wound.
Is
it the witch wound? Because I'm really into the witch wound, but is that what you mean when you say reigniting the inner witch?
I mean, I think that I live near Pendle, so obviously the Pendle witches, which people down south might not have heard of, but the big witch trial, they're kind of famous for it, and probably just women who knew a little bit about plants, knew a little bit about working with energy, and obviously the male-dominated judiciary and monarchy, and they didn't like that sort of thing, did they? So they kind of set out to put it down. But I think women are special. They've been given these innate skills by whichever higher power is in charge of us. And the reason why women are so intuitive and so they're just the only thing I can sounds like a silly example, but like when you've had a child and they walk into the room and they can get out of their bed or a cot bed or whatever, and they'll just like stand and in the middle of the night, and you wake up and don't you? Because there's like that thing, and I'm not saying men don't have it, but I think women have got it in spades, and they've got it for just lots of different things. And I think that when they call it the witch wound, I think it is just like centuries and centuries of women's gifts and energy work being suppressed because of fear and because of wanting to be in charge of them and stop their power. And some people are enlightened, aren't they? Some cultures and male dominated, they kind of see that and they think they know that women are the most important, but it doesn't always equate into how we treat women. And I just think that
that's really interesting about what you say with the cultures, because I wonder if women from cultures where they still praise women, I wonder if they still have the inhibitions that we have. Like, I wonder if there is this kind of like, I don't know, crossroads, but because of the way society has been positioned is with the culture that comes from the witch wound, that's being pushed onto them as well. But I wonder if they don't actually have the conditioning ingrained in their DNA like people that do come from that lineage do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think the more that the world opens up
thought of that before,
because of communication and the internet and everything, you can see that will spread, and then if the power is still with the male energy, masculine energy, then it hopefully it'll equal, but maybe it will never, because it takes the women to be in the power, political power and influential power to make anything change, doesn't it?
And also although we've been told that we can have it all and we can do it all and we can do anything that a man does, we are still the only people that can give birth.
Yeah.
So you have to make a choice.
Mm.
And if you're going to be good at one thing, you can't be good at everything unless you have like millions and millions of pounds and loads of staff. But even then, you're still not doing it all yourself. No. So that, yeah, I feel like it's about what you put, how you measure equality, I guess, and what you hold up as being the most important.
Yeah. I think we're getting a bit deep now, aren't we? But I think
I'm like, whoa, I like this though.
It is like equality of thought, because if there were a man and a woman and they both had equal amounts of money, the woman would probably still focus more on the familial things, because that's sort of part of the generational legacy, isn't it? And the man would probably still just think, well, I can go and play golf or tennis, or you know what I mean? Because
exactly, that is exactly it. That's so true.
I'm not man bashing, because you know there are
They
loads of
just
brilliant
don't
men
think,
out there.
like, because it's not brought down to them to think that way.
No.
It's like my husband won't think to, I don't know, he just will walk past things because it's not, literally doesn't see it.
No.
But whereas and I was brought up, my mum left when I was young, so I was brought up by my dad, and I lived in a house with my dad and my brother, and I've still got it ingrained in me. So it's not even like it's a nurture thing. It's just like this innate, it's just built within us. It's crazy. But yeah, but also with the inner witch, I find it really interesting because, oh, you've gone quiet. Oh, you've muted yourself. Can I unmute you? Nope. Maybe I'll just talk for a bit then. Can't hear you. It says on your screen that your microphone's muted. Computer says no. I'm just going to talk a bit because I really love the witch wound, and then when we can hear you, we'll listen to you. Oh, you've gone. Okay, fine. Well, I'm just going to carry on talking. Does anybody want to talk to me about the witch wound? Because I am like so. I know we're supposed to be talking about quantum flame healing, but it is all linked, and I love talking about this stuff. Here she is. She's back. Yay!
Hey.
I can hear you.
What I should have done was put myself on focus and do not, whatever it's called, on the phone.
Oh, did you get a phone call?
Not all the time. It's just them selling, isn't it? Stuff.
It's just such a businesswoman. There you go.
No, I'll fill a form in, and then next minute they're all calling, aren't they? It's like, oh, that's another question. That's another conversation about unsolicited approaches.
Yeah. So what is it that you're doing now? Like, tell people what you're offering, what services are you offering, how are you helping people? Because you want to reawaken the world, which I think is absolutely fantastic. I think they've been asleep for a while. So
I think it's kind of linked, even though it might not seem it. But just to finish off what we were talking about, I really just think, whether you call it witch or you call it whatever, wise woman, female intuition, whatever, I just think we should be proud of it, and we shouldn't. I just wish it would be more normalized that women know things, feel things, and can help in ways that other people might not be able to, whether that's witch or whatever. I just think we're far more powerful than we've been allowed to be, and it's like awakening that in everybody, in every woman, and maybe even reawakening in every man the fact that what they can be, so that they don't have to follow this path that that they've got a generational thing as well, how they should be acting. We should just all be acting for what's best, shouldn't we?
Yeah, exactly. And every man was came from a woman, so they will have it as well.
Yeah.
Like they're not immune to it.
No, and I think that's where when you were talking about your husband and you growing up in a household with men, my mum and dad were together, but my dad was the one who cooked all the meals, or he made my packed lunch for school, and because he was one of 4 boys brought up by a strong woman,
Yeah.
and she made them do all these things. And I think that's the role that women have as well, is to kind of, when they've got the chance, is to train their children to be like that, where the roles aren't so fixed. And my dad was he, like you've just said about seeing things, if I walked into his house and then he'd be like, oh, bring in muck in, I've just hoovered. He was
My dad as well.
Yeah, he was quite feminine in that respect. If we're going to assign gender roles, he had all the qualities that a woman would have had to be saying, do this, do that, what are you doing?
Like noticing. Yeah.
Anyway, so it's sort of linked. So women, I think we have a bit of a rough ride. Well, I mean, I'm 54 in a few weeks. And so during the time when all of this Dark Night of the Soul stuff was happening, one of the things in the mix was menopause. And
what was the for people that don't know, what was the Dark Night of the Soul thing that was happening?
So when I had my kind of emotional breakdown, everything was happening, my daughter was leaving. In the end, my daughter became home educated because of her anxiety. My dad was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And I was having this, at the time I didn't realise perimenopause was peaking, as it helpfully does, and which led me to just think, I can't do this anymore. I can't be this stressed, can't be this being pulled in all directions.
Yeah.
And it was rough. I mean, it was rough for a while, and then I was supposed to be going back to school to teach, and I just got to the point when I was planning my integration back in. I was only supposed to be working like a day or a couple of days and then whatever, and I couldn't, and I knew then that was that. But it was rough for a few months. I just sat and cried a lot and couldn't speak to people. Like I could speak to people that I was close to, but if I had to then go and talk to anybody to do with work, I just ended up crying again, and very, very I won't say depressed. I think I was just having an emotional, I was burnt out emotionally. It was overwhelmed. It was everything.
Yeah. Well, that's a big sign as well, isn't it? You need to leave if you can talk normally, and then when you're in that situation, you start crying. Like,
yeah. And I know a lot of people. I could talk about it. I could talk about I've had anxiety / depression on and off for years, and I can talk about it. I can talk to people that I've never met before about it. I can talk on camera. I can talk about it. So talk therapy wasn't gonna help.
Yeah.
The menopause was really linked, and I went to this healer. I was drawn to the healing because I was pushed to the healing by my guides. And
so for people that are like kind of not really, like not as much in our world as we are, what did the push by your guides to the healing look like?
It was seeing people talking about things that I was going through, and
what, it just kind of kept showing up, like,
yes,
in your
it kept showing up. And I know people who are cynical will kind of go, well, yeah, but that's just the algorithm, and once you've clicked on one thing, it just keeps showing you it. But it was talking to me, it was speaking to me.
Yeah.
And it was like a gateway. So my first one was belief coding, and it just kept popping up, and actually at the time it fit because like I said before, I was in this routine. It was very structured. I had a work timetable. I literally had a timetable for my day and everything else around teaching. And so that was quite, I think it was what I needed. It was like the gateway into this world because it's very structured. And I think it's, from what I've seen, it's becoming a little bit less structured, maintaining all the same elements, but it was very like rigid and like you did this, you did it, and that really suited me. And then that led me into the Quantum Flame community, and that's where I've kind of found my home more. And there's value in everything that I've done, but I think, like I've said, Quantum Flame energy comes in all the time, doing lots of different things. That purple is there all the time when I need it. So the purple energy that the purple, it's kind of the quantum realm, isn't it? The purple, and it's to do with our intuition and our, like, opening our spiritual paths and everything. But that comes in for me all the time. But so as I made my way through belief coding and then into Quantum Flame and quantum energy first, it was only then when I look back that I thought, and people were talking about menopause and hormones and stuff, and by this point I was through it. I was in my kind of year, the 12 months after your last cycle. You're hoping that it's going to be 12 months because you've been there before, and like
back again,
10 months in, and then you have another cycle and you're like, oh right, starting again. And I was thinking that but I had that once. I had that symptom and then it went, and I didn't, and I can't remember the last time I had it. And when I actually pinpointed all the things, the healing and the processes I'd been through had managed my menopause symptoms.
Wow.
So
I don't know.
So my backstory is, as with me, nothing is straightforward. So I carry a gene change in my BRCA. I'm BRCA2. If anybody knows what that means, so I've got a family history, genetic thing for breast cancer, and also ovarian cancer. So I knew that from about 28 because my mum died of, well, secondary liver cancer, breast cancer. Her identical twin then found a lump after my mum had died, and she ended up in Christie's Hospital in Manchester. And one day, Professor Gareth Evans was walking past her bed. He was in charge of family history at Christie, and he was walking past her bed, and he sort of said, oh, what's your story? And she mentioned about my mum, her twin, and he was like, oh, all right. And anyway, tested, and a few, like, there was lots of, my auntie had to do lots of research and family tree and all this business, who died of what. And eventually, yes, they found out she had the gene change that meant all of the granddaughters of the initial person, all the cousins were girls, so we all then could be tested. So I found out a couple of years after my mum died that I carried the gene, which meant my chances of breast cancer are increased. So I kind of always knew that I wasn't going to be able to do HRT even from then. So it wasn't going to be an option when I came into menopause.
You can't do HRT if you've got that gene.
They don't advise it because obviously it's boosting your estrogen, and that's the thing that could
and that accelerate cancer growth.
Accelerate growth.
Right. Okay. Stuff. Wow.
So, and I chosen not to have elective mastectomy or oophorectomy, which was I could have done. I could have chosen to do that, but I hadn't had a child by then, and I'm monitored, so I'm kind of trusting that. But so I always knew I couldn't start HRT at that point in the future, like when you started with the menopause symptoms. But what's the biggest menopause symptom that people think they're going to have? And it's hot flashes. And that's not the biggest menopause symptom that most women have. A lot of it is anxiety and just feeling like they're lost and disconnected, and their emotions are.
Wow, doesn't everybody go through that as well? And it just seems like it's just a normal thing.
I think there's a lot of women get to the age of late 40s, early 50s and reevaluate their life because they're not happy, but really it's just their hormones are driving them to that feeling. And there were other symptoms as well that went, like a dead arm in bed and tingling, my blurry eyes, brain fog, all things like that. And I thought, oh, actually some of those have gone, and I'm through the other side now, and I look on some of these menopause support groups on Facebook and read things, and I didn't struggle at all, I must say.
Wow.
Sorry, I apologise to the people out there that are really having a horrendous time. I had anxiety for me, and the unmasking of whatever issues I've got, that was the biggest thing. But I've got the tools now to kind of continuously work on it.
Yeah.
So I didn't have, I had a few hot flashes, didn't have night sweats, didn't struggle with sleeping. There's so many different ways it can affect daily life for women.
Yeah.
And I believe that it was because of all the healing I was doing, receiving, giving to other people. The energy was passing through me, and it's just helped me. So then I thought, right, well, I need to help other women using some of these different tools. I did some stuff with belief coding where I did some sessions with ladies, and we worked on specifically menopause symptoms,
right,
and things like that. So that's my mission now.
Yeah. I can see it. I really can.
And Najwa as well, she gave me a nudge because we were in a session and I don't know what we were talking about, and then she just went, oh, yes, that's you, I can see you doing that, and it kind of lit a little spark. And I've followed that path, but then I keep kind of straying off it, shiny object syndrome, and trying to be everything for everybody, I think. Like, because I think sometimes we want to heal everything, don't we? I want to, that person's got backache, I want to heal it. This person's got this, I want to heal it.
Yeah.
But no, I was reminded.
Stay on your path.
Yeah, I was reminded recently about staying on my path, and I didn't particularly like that message, but actually, it's brought me back to something that I've already had an idea for. So my whole thing is menopause my way. That menopause can be your own way. It doesn't have to be HRT.
Yeah.
It can be if you want it to be. Some women can't, like me. Some women try and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I think
also, like with the, sorry to interject, but I need to say it really quickly. With the shiny object syndrome, if you're doing if you want to do like a reflexology course, isn't that an amazing thing to offer someone who's like oh my gosh, they would love that.
Yeah.
So it's actually, you still are on your course.
Yeah.
You just need to remember how you can tailor it back. You know that you can help everybody with everything, with all of these things, but you just specialize in this specific thing.
I think
you can do it all.
I think that it's more that I'm kind of spreading myself trying to spread myself too thin, like putting myself out there to be able to do all this. Well, actually, my focus is women who are going through this absolutely normal part of their life, but it's affecting them in a hugely abnormal way, to the point that men don't. I do think men go through menopause, and that's another thing, but it's not the same. It's not. I think menopause can break some women to the point where they don't really know themselves anymore. They don't love themselves. They don't know how to move forward. So that's my plan, is to help them and show them that, if your option has been taken away from you, that you don't just stop. You can't. There are other things you could do which will help ease the symptoms, remove the symptoms, and hopefully awaken and enlighten that inner wise woman from centuries ago that was in tune with the earth and nature and the moon and everything, and we've drifted so far away from it that we just think now, because of medicine and the way that it helps amazingly in some situations, that is the only option. And actually there are lots of different things that our bodies would have absorbed from our diet and the actions we were doing, but now we have to put them back in because we don't absorb them.
And the other thing with because I think there's a place for medicine and healing. Like, I would never say to anybody to stop taking your medication or anything like that, because I still believe that there is a place. And sometimes people need it to work quickly for whatever reason, and medicine just does it quickly. But also, when you go back to how centuries ago we used to be able to heal ourselves with eating right and all of the nutrients from the earth, but food is not real food anymore.
No.
Like, we don't get the same, like, even me, I will have a strawberry from a supermarket and it doesn't taste like a strawberry anymore. I remember what a strawberry tastes like when I was a child, and it does not taste the same.
No.
And that's why we have to take the supplements and all of this kind of stuff, because the food has been so genetically modified because the populations have risen so much and we needed to create more food for more people, that it's not real food anymore. And it's really hard and really expensive to try and live like that, unless you're growing it yourself and you've got like plenty of time on your hands and you've got some green fingers. But even then, the soil, the nutrients come from the soil, and the soil even isn't the same. So
Or
it's
it's
just like
tainted with
this
some.
whole like massive head
I
fuck
think
of everything.
we're in kind of a wellness crisis, brought on by a lot of the things that improved our lives, it made them easier, but it doesn't. And I mean, I'm also diabetic, type 2, so there are some tablets I have to continue taking, but I've managed to bring levels down, not through necessarily doing anything, mad like diet or anything. It's just because my body is more balanced and it's functioning because I'm doing the work all the time, the healing work and the energy work. And as at the moment, everything, science is brilliant, and science will eventually show us that all of these things that are more traditional, more holistic, are actually having a big they're playing a big difference, playing a big part, aren't they? But it's like some people need to have that scientific like thumbs up before they'll trust it. But actually everybody's got the power in them to heal themselves, and they might just need a little bit of help. And that's
It's
where we
almost like
come
your
in.
brain, it's like with belief coding, when you have once a negative thing happens to you, and then the rest of your life you're collecting evidence to prove that that negative thing is wrong. And it's like, we need proof to show that it's right. And the things that we do believe, like, I always find this so interesting, is that dock leaves grow next to nettles, and whenever you get stung, you get the dock leaf and you're fine straight away, aren't you? But you believe in that because the proof is there immediately. It immediately makes you feel better. So nature's proven it to us. But when it takes a bit longer, especially in this day and age when we're like bing 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 bing, like access to everything immediately, if something takes a while, we're too impatient and then we just disregard it as not working.
And I think that is with everything. I mean, when I was doing some work on belief coding with, there was a lady from Canada who volunteered to be a case study, and she was holding trauma from COVID, and but it was coming out in the sweats and everything with her menopause. It had kind of latched onto that, and she kind of like did the session. I followed up and she said, oh yeah. And it was only weeks later she got back in touch and said, do you know what, actually I've noticed now that it's not as bad, and I'd be really interested in looking at this again. And I think that immediate gratification with everything is one of the barriers to getting our message out there sometimes, because people don't see that having a meditation for an hour and having energy around them will make a big difference. It's not that instant, and I think once they do realize, then you've got somebody for life then, haven't you? Because they know that. And that, I think that's why a lot of healing facilitators use each other so much and exchange energy and have different treatments with each other, because we kind of know what it's doing, and but we realize we might need somebody else's support to do that.
Yeah.
We can't do it all ourselves.
Yeah.
Self-facilitation is brilliant, but we sometimes need somebody else to come in and take charge of that energy and
hold you, and also see things that you can't see.
Yeah.
Because so often when you have a session with somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that I was doing
Yeah.
that, and then someone else has seen what's in plain sight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for people that want to know more about what you're doing, what are you offering? How can they find you? How can they book in with you?
Well, I'm just setting up a new group. So I was handed over the quantum hormone healing group was handed over to me by Emma and Najwa.
Amazing.
And it's been brilliant, but at the same time, it's not my story. You know, it's full of people that might have connection to what I'm talking about, but it wasn't mine. So I've decided to set my own group up, and I'm going to invite everybody to come across. It's called Menopause My Way, a place for holistic hormone healing.
Love it.
Because there's lots of other elements to it. It's not just healing energy. It might be other things like meditations, tapping. It could be supplements, ways to, what you drink in the morning, what you eat. It's going to be kind of all things, and hopefully we'll all help each other. I'm Jillian Shiers Healing on Facebook, and that has links to my thing. If you live in the East Lancashire area, I'm available on Thursdays at On Point Healing Hub in Padiham, and if people are local to that area, it's the old youth club at Padiham. It's a beautiful building that was the old youth club, apparently, on the main road, and it's fantastic. So and obviously Vicky's there too, and between us we have like a lot of different treatments. Vicky's a lot more experienced than me in this, and she's got a lot of things going on, and so between us we're kind of covering a lot of bases.
And so what would people, if somebody's like, what would somebody say? Like, I'm just trying to think, what would somebody be saying if they came to you, like what they would be struggling with?
So they might be feeling very disconnected with their family and their people around them in their relationship. There might be lots of feeling of fatigue and just not being able to seem to have any energy. A lot of it are the things, I mean, yes, it could be physical symptoms. It could be, hot flashes, night sweats. It could just be that they feel like their cycles are not, because menopause, a lot of people don't realize menopause stretches from like mid-30s even to after you're 50. So a lot of people, I'm not in menopause. Actually, you probably are in menopause. You just it hasn't affected you. The hormones aren't having that field day yet. So if you're feeling like stuck, like you're blocked, like you want to do things but you can't bring yourself to do them, you can't get yourself motivated, you feel out of kilter with the world, you're finding it difficult to kind of relate to even your close family members. I think that's one of the things that I see a lot of women who just feel like they don't know their partner anymore. They can't, and it's not that anything's changed, it's their body isn't working properly, so their hormones and their feelings aren't working properly, or they might just not love themselves anymore. I think one of the things I found doing my case studies was that women going through menopause, postmenopause, perimenopause, they've stopped loving their body because their body feels like it's betraying them. It's not acting how they thought it would continue to act, because we don't get taught about menopause enough when we're younger. And they feel that kind of sort of something happened in the past and they've just decided that no. And a lot of it's to do with sometimes childbirth, sometimes just their monthly cycles, and they just don't like the weight they are anymore because they feel like they're putting weight on. They don't like their skin, their hair is thinning, and they just decide that they don't love themselves anymore. And actually it's still the same body, and you just need to balance your energy and manage those hormones naturally to help you realize that that's not, it's still the same you and you're still amazing, but your body just needs like a tune up. It's like taking your car in for a tune up. You need to tune your body up to grow back in, you know, and like those parts of yourself again, whether it's mental and emotional or it's physically. That's what energy can do for you. It can heal those feelings that you don't like about yourself.
And if somebody's feeling really crap like that, how many sessions do they need? I know it's like a case by case thing, but I'm guessing they can't just come once and they're like skipping out, or can they? I don't know.
I no. I think I'll be careful what I say here. I think there are some times when somebody can come in and have a session of whatever, and they think, right, that's really shifted that. But as we have all found out, the work continues. So I think you could have a big shift. You could have a big shift the first time, but then you need to maintain that, and all the ones after it could be like for instance, if you're working on menopause symptoms, you might need to work on 2 or 3 major menopause symptoms, but or chakras if it's particular coming from a hormone center. But after that, it's probably maintenance, and there are lots of different ways that could look. It doesn't always have to be a huge 2-hour session. It could be top up ones, just maintenance really, of just to make sure you're on top of your energy and keep realigning it again. And
so are different hormones associated with different chakras?
Yes. This is one of this is one of the things that's been in my head for a while, and so I'm going to, once I've got the group going and we've had some fun with it, and I'm going to start looking at testing some different sessions that work on particular chakras, because there are different hormone centers and there are different ascended masters as well that are linked to different hormone centers. So I'm really working on one at a time, and I'm hoping to have a subscription box that is based around each chakra, linked to menopause and hormones, so that you can like tune in live and have whatever session live, or you can have something in your own home where you can work on yourself for a month or 2 months or whatever after that. So there's lots of ideas, and just need to get it into place.
It's amazing. It sounds so exciting and so interesting. I feel like I've learned so much. Like, so
I think it's been great chatting to somebody in that. There's it's almost like, you know, when people go on Big Brother or something where they're stranded on an island and there's only those people understand what it was like. There really sometimes is only people within the healing community, and particularly off the quantum flame, only the quantum way kind of people who understand some of the issues, and they're bringing in lots of different things from outside as well, and the exchange of knowledge is as big as the energy exchange of healing as well, isn't it? And the support and everything is fantastic, and the collaborations that come from it, and the, you know, it's so
are you doing collaboration with Vicky?
So we're starting some kind of events. I'm sure that some other things will come from it. But yeah, I think that I wasn't confident enough in what I do now, and I'm getting that now. I'm getting that confidence. So when I look back, I wouldn't have gone, oh yeah, I'll do that with you and your place in a space.
Yeah.
I'm like, I did the at Yule, over Yule, I did the 12 days of Yule, where you pull a card for each month of the year, and my first few cards for this year were very much pushing me to take that chance. You only get that offer, step in, take that chance. And I'm so glad I have done, because it's like a snowball, isn't it? Once you start, your confidence and your path just gets clearer, and the snowball gets bigger, and you just attract more things, don't you, as you grow up.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow, that's so exciting. Oh my gosh, watch this space.
Yes.
I've made so many notes that I'm going to share with you after, because I feel like you've said some like little key things that you can use.
Yes.
Something I've been like writing them down. But that's so exciting. So you've got the quantum hormone group. You're going to put your new group, Menopause My Way, up.
Yeah.
And then I'm so interested in like the hormones associated with the chakras and the different ascended masters. I think that is right on my street. How fun. It's so
And like, because
interesting.
there are a lot of people who I'm not closing my group to people who aren't in menopause, because a lot of people don't have it because they've had induced menopause, but they might just have an issue with the hormones.
Yeah.
And obviously younger people who might have an issue with PCOS and things like that.
Yeah.
It's open. It's anybody really who wants to. But I might be in there waffling on about menopause a lot, so just so they're aware.
But it's interesting for everyone to know. Like I feel like I have quite a lot of the things that you talk about, like the symptoms, but I've had so many. I keep going back for blood tests after blood test after blood test, and they're like, no, no, no. So mental.
I mean, the GPs. It's not important in the obviously hormone blood tests don't give an accurate, because they change all the time. So there literally is no benchmark for menopause until you've gone the 12 months after your last cycle. But
Wow.
I mean, it can start so much earlier, and there's so many women they look for an answer at the GP, and there isn't an answer, because really they're looking to say, right, I've hit this mark, and what do I do now? Whereas
they can't tell you until it's over.
You need to start preparing for it, because your body will transition through that much more smoothly if you start doing these things and putting your life into balance, and it can be a smooth transition. So yeah, it's about education, I think, as well, for menopause. It's as big a part of our life as puberty is.
Yeah.
But it's not talked about, and it's not. And I mean, I can't remember what my mum said about it now. And my
mum said nothing.
And it would have just been
at school.
It would just been, oh my god, I'm having a moment, I'm having a a senior moment. That's the least of it. Like that, you can get a fan. That a fan will sort that out. But there's a lot more to it, and I don't think women are prepared. And hopefully through this, I'll just make awareness a bit more, and people might feel like they can take charge of their own menopause and perimenopause and have a smoother journey.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
It's so nice to chat to you and hear about everything that you've been doing. But yeah, so you're gonna add all the things to the bottom, aren't you? So people can have a look at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And I'm gonna join your group.
Thank
Yay!
Yeah.
I'll speak to you later, and I'll send you all these notes.
Yes, thank you very much. Then it's been brilliant. I've enjoyed it.
Yay. See you later.
See you. Bye.